Welcome to week 4 of the Fantasy Football Touchback podcast. I'm Megan, that's Chris, and we wanted to start off this week talking about injuries. Unfortunately, they can be really, really detrimental to your teams in fantasy. And while week 4 is a little early to talk about them, we wanted to get started because we've seen some significant injuries to the teams this year.
So we figured the easiest way for you guys is to learn how to manage your rosters via injury. You can have an out for the season, you can have just day to day. How are you going to decide, do I need to start them? Do I need to sit them? So when you see day to day, that usually means that the coaches are just seeing how sore they are afterwards. If they're doubtful, don't bother because that means that even if they do play, they're not playing at 100%. Questionable can be brought into so many different decisions, from a concussion to, hey, I'm coming off of a sore hamstring, can it go? Again, that's just one of those things where, depending on the injury, you want to know where it is. But really, you want to go ahead and get into the injuries that have significant time put into them, specifically out for the season.
When you have out for this season or IR, actually, Chris, we wanted to talk about IR more than out for the season, right?
True, absolutely.
IR is injured reserve. And you'll see on some of the fantasy leagues where they'll have an IR slot where you can put players that are considered IR. They can't be questionable, they can't be doubtful, they have to be IR. You can move them into that slot that says that they can sit here for the 4 weeks that they're required to be in IR every time they're put on it, and put somebody else either from your team or from the pool of unrostered players into that slot so that you can have another person while you're waiting for this guy to get off of IR. Unfortunately, this year all of our IR players are out for the season. We have James Conner, who got injured this week. We have Najee Harris, who's also out for the season, and Austin Eckler, who possibly is out for the rest of his career.
Yeah, and it's an incredible bummer because you have those IR slots in most leagues, but like you said, once they're on IR and they're out for the year, you want to just drop them unless you're in a franchise league. That's when you want to hold on to them if they're a star player that you want to say, you know what, I think he's going to come back next year stronger. He's going to go ahead and do what he needs to do, get ready, healthy, and we're going to go ahead and start him. But then you have these 2 to 4 week, 3 to 4 week, where you're like, kind of in limbo. Some leagues have that rule where if they're out, they can go on IR. If not, then you just hold on to them or see if anybody can actually trade for them. You have anything else for this, Megan, to say about injuries?
I was going to say specifically CD Lamb this week came out with a high ankle sprain. Now, a high ankle sprain can be anywhere from barely, just affecting you,
All
right,
right.
Chris?
Apparently, that the trip from Buffalo just, I'm not over it yet. I don't know what's happening. Sorry about that, guys. Go ahead, continue.
Or you're really sad about CD Lamb.
Well, that too. I did have. Anyway,
Me too. So CD Lamb has a high ankle sprain. Well, we see with ankle sprains specifically that they can be out just for the week between uh, games, or they can be out for 3 to 4 weeks. In this case, we're not sure what he's going to do. It really depends on if he can pivot on that ankle or be able to play the way that he's used to, because it affects him specifically as a wide receiver on what his functionality is in receiving that ball.
right. Yeah, and that goes along with good points, meaning that each position can power through different injuries. So
Hmm.
high ankle sprain for a wide receiver, like you said, it's horrible. A turf toe for a quarterback like Joe Burrow, you don't think turf toe. It sounds like a lame injury, but it's something where you're actually pushing off of your foot, and a quarterback, like a pitcher in baseball, has to drive off of their foot, and they can't do it on, especially when it's that driving leg, excuse me, that Joe Burrow. So he's out for at least till December, like we talked about last week. But that is why a turf toe is such a minor injury for some people and such a major injury for others. But other
Potentially
than,
requiring surgery.
yeah, I mean, oh, depending on the grade, obviously, and that's
Right.
that's going to be there. But when it comes down to positions, you want to say, okay, if I have a concussion, no matter what position, they have to clear a concussion protocol, like Justin Fields is in now. Still in concussion protocol, but as soon as he clears it, he's 100% go. So that's one of those where he's questionable. But then you have other players, like we were saying, Mike Evans with the high ankle sprain. Some
Mike
people,
Evans has a hamstring
I'm
injury,
sorry, I have
not a
the
high ankle strain.
CD Lamb has the high ankle sprain. That is my bad. Excuse me. So many, like we were talking about, so many players, so many injuries. It's hard to keep up, but we're gonna go ahead and help you guys during our matchups and figure out who you can start in their places. But speaking of matchups, let's go ahead and get going there. Sound good?
Sounds great. If you're enjoying the podcast, make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you. Welcome back. We're going to start off with Seattle at Arizona. It is Thursday night game, so it's a short week for both of these teams. We have Seattle with Corey Horton having an amazing game last week with his 35-yard punt return in that WR3 slot. He'll probably see more touches this week with how well he did. Also for Arizona, James Conner is on IR, unfortunately. So Trey Benson is probably going to take over for him there. But it's probably not a good to start Benson or Kyler Murray since they're just getting started with each other. What's next, Chris?
Looks like we're heading to Dublin Island for our international game for the Vikings and the Steelers. This is an international game that we talk about always. It's always so hard to decide how to set up your lineup. But the one that you got going in both of these teams, they have outstanding run games in Jordan Mason and Jalen Warren. That's pretty much where I would stick to it. Of course, you have Justin Jefferson, which is an automatic starter, and DK Metcalf as well. After that, we're going to Atlanta for the Falcons, Meg.
Yeah, I really wouldn't take anybody on Atlanta's side to be honest. They had a big goose egg last week between Michael Penix not being able to hang on to the ball and the defense relying too much on their blitz. From the Washington side, Jaden Daniels is still day to day. We're not sure if he's going to start or Marcus Mariota. Both quarterbacks, though, should do well against Atlanta's defense, but just make sure you're watching your news to see who to start. Chris?
Absolutely. Let's head to Buffalo next. Highmark Stadium against the Saints. Start everybody in Buffalo. Alvin Kamara might have a big game. Jawan Johnson as well, but really, it just should be a win-win-win for the Buffalo Bills. Houston Texans, I think, is where we got to go.
Yep. Houston's defense is doing really well this year. They've held teams under 15 points until the final drive of the game, but their defense is doing well from a fantasy perspective. On Tennessee, Coach Callahan has turned the play calling duties over to the quarterback coach. So we want to look to Cam Ward to hang on to the ball a lot more this week. Next up is Philadelphia. Sorry, Chris.
No, you're fine. I think that our next up is going to actually be Detroit for me,
Yeah,
but
you're right.
we can go ahead and that Philadelphia game is coming. Don't worry.
All right, I got it.
The Cleveland Browns and the Detroit Lions. You got a massive battle of the defenses here. I expect a low-scoring game. Q Judkins for Cleveland has started to get those touches that we expected him to get after his investigation. But again, you have Sonic and Knuckles, Jameer Gibbs, and David Montgomery of the Detroit Lions. So really expect a hard-nosed fought game on both sides here. All right, now we have Philadelphia versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa Bay.
I guess I'm just really excited about this matchup of two undefeated teams. It's the only one this week. So one of them is going to be 3-1 instead of 4-0. Tampa Bay's Mike Evans is injured his hamstring this week. We're expecting him to be out for a while, but we love Egbuka. We think he's going to do really, really well. So hopefully the Bucks don't miss Mike Evans too much. On the Philadelphia side, great team. We like them all. Jalen Hurts, though, is not looking like himself. I'm not sure that I would start him, just because I expect him to fall apart at some point. In Tampa Bay with how well they're doing, it might be this week. Also, Dallas Goddard. He's been really, really, really good. Kind of as a sleeper almost for Philadelphia. So I hope to see more of him.
About time.
What's next? What's next, Chris?
New England. We are headed to New England. With the Patriots facing off against the Carolina Panthers, really you have both teams trying to figure out where they're going. We are in week 4. Both teams have had traction. Both teams are starting to do what they like. New England likes to run the ball. We just don't know who they're going to hand the ball off to because it changes every single week. So I would kind of stay away from that. But Drake May and Hunter Henry have created quite the rapport. So check to see if Hunter Henry is in that free agency, because that would be someone I would be focusing on. Chuba Hubbard is always a start for us, and then Ted McMillan, the kid is absolutely fantastic. So that's pretty much all I have for this game. Let's go to the Meadowlands for the New York Giants.
New York Giants. I mean, do you have Brian Dable still having his job at this point? You've been saying it for a couple of weeks that his job is really on the line as far as being able to coach this team and just the emotional effects that we're seeing on the team themselves not really being able to do much. However, they announced this week that Jackson Dart is going to start instead, which I hope is going to do better. You know, we saw him take a couple of snaps last week, which means that Malik Neighbors hopefully will also do really well this week. We haven't seen him do much at all, and we expect so much more of him. On the Chargers side, um, Justin Herbert, you know, we like him a lot. I would definitely start him if you have him. We haven't seen Omarion Hampton do much yet, but with Najee's injury, he should be sharing touches with both Lad McConkey and Quentin Johnson. Chris?
Awesome. I think that means we're going off to San Francisco against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence versus Brock Purdy, maybe. Drake May went out with a injury, and Brock Purdy's supposed to be coming back, but I would be very, very cautious. As we have said countless times, be cautious with San Francisco. They are full of injuries. They have a tendency to get injured, and that is something that we saw with Nick Bosa as well on their defense. So San Francisco's team is seeming to fall apart. Hopefully, Christian McCaffrey is not next, but I would start him as long as he is healthy. As for Jacksonville, let's wait and see. Trevor Lawrence, he's going to give you mid teens to about up 20s, depending on how you score. But it's something where Brian Thomas has not been the same guy that we've seen in the past. And Travis Hunter, they don't know. So the only starter I would say on that team is Cam Little, the kicker. So that's all I have for the San Francisco game. Let's go back to LA for the Rams.
Down to LA because
Yeah, that too.
okay. The Indianapolis Colts at the LA Rams, looking to be a pretty evenly matched game between Jonathan Taylor's 45-yard touchdown run last week and me stupidly sitting Kyron Williams and losing my fantasy game. I feel like all the players on both of these teams should be doing well. Chris?
Oh, that short, sweet, and exactly what needs to be said about that. Kansas City. The Kansas City Chiefs versus Baltimore. This is the marquee matchup for the week. There's a lot of heavy hitters, guys. Don't expect defenses to do much here. I expect the Mahomes to try to get that deep game going. They're expected to have Xavier Worthy playing, but I don't expect him to be a really big part of the game plan. More of a decoy, as it were. Derrick Henry, let's see if he can hold on to the ball. This is 3 weeks in a row that he has fumbled the ball. So that's a little bit concerning considering that he's never had fumble issues in the past. Lamar Jackson, it's another hard loss that they had last week. So we'll see how Baltimore bounces back. But after that's pretty much all that I got for the Kansas City game.
Awesome.
Want to go to Las Vegas?
Yep, Chicago at Las Vegas. I'm really expecting Chicago to do well this week. Raiders are really hurting everywhere. They just are not making things happen. You know, they're trying so hard, but it's just not working out for them. Caleb had 4 touchdowns last week, and Rome Odenzi was one of his favorite targets. Cole Kmet will also do well with Loveland's injury. How about Green Bay at Dallas?
Nice and simple way to go with that. Green Bay and Dallas, we have Micah Parsons returning home. saying that he wants to hurt Dak Prescott. So I expect the Green Bay defense to be an absolute starter in this game. Josh Jacobs should run all over them. CeeDee Lamb is unfortunately injured, so you're going to see George Pickens step in there, and probably Jake Ferguson to take over those targets that CeeDee Lamb would have. How about Miami next, babe?
Divisional matchup, New York Jets at Miami. This is the first of the 2 Monday Night Football games this week. Justin Fields is still day to day. We're not sure if it's going to be him or Tyrod Taylor. Just make sure to watch the news in the coming days. Garrett Wilson's starting to do better, and Mason Taylor is a personal favorite as always. On the Miami side, we saw Ollie Gordon take a lot of touches this last week against the Bills. He's still expected to do pretty well against uh, the Jets this week. And then, yeah, we'll see what they're going to do. Lastly, Chris, Cincinnati at Denver.
Sounds like a good place to end. Empower Field, Bo Nix. Let's see if he can do it. Finally found Courtland Sutton like we were expecting him to, but can Jake Browning finally catch up with Jamar Chase? So that's really going to be the story there. Denver should come out with the win on this one. They have the more healthy roster, and Cincinnati, they have the all-star players, but what good is an all-star if you can't get them the ball? So that that'll go ahead and be all of our matchups. We'll go ahead and talk about our traps, sleepers, and our locks next. Make sure to like and subscribe now. All right, now let's get to the sleepers, traps, and lock players that we want to go ahead and talk about.
First up, we have Drake May with the New England Patriots playing quarterback. He's a favorable matchup against Carolina this week. Also, New England is starting to actually look like a team again. So I would definitely take Drake May if he's available on your league. Cam Scatabo, New York Giants. He plays what? He plays running back. Hello, Megan. He touched the ball a lot last week because Tracy is out. Christopher. I'm already slap happy, and then you be slap happy on top of that.
I just want to make it more entertaining.
Hey, late. Time for bed.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Scatabo plays for the New York Giants. He plays running back. I'm doing good so far. I really just like saying his name. I mean, watching the game last week, so Scatabo this and Scatabo that, and I was just super excited. So I wanted him on the sleepers. But in reality, he touched the ball last week because Tracy is out, and we are expecting to see him a lot more this coming week. Torrey Horton, I already spoke about earlier, plays for Seattle at wide receiver. He had a massive punt return, 95 yards. So we likely will see more touches this week. Plus, all of the news is all over him. So definitely pick him up if he's available.
Jawan Johnson, New Orleans Saints tight end, is one of the top 3 tight ends in the league right now. Yes, he is playing Buffalo, but that's why they make. There are holes in that Bills defense that I think the tight end could absolutely luster, figure out something to give Rattler. Tyler Loop, I like the kid a lot. And with them playing Kansas City, I expect it to be another high scoring game, and it's going to come down to a field goal. The Jacksonville, go ahead.
What did they call him? Loop de loop?
Loop, there it is.
Loop, there it is.
There it is.
I can't get into it, but okay.
Hey, everybody has a saying. That's what needs to happen. Jacksonville playing against San Francisco. San Francisco is so banged up. This could be a sneaky defense to go ahead and start if you have a bad matchup. Like if you have Kansas City or Baltimore's defense, Jacksonville is probably where you want to go because you're going to have a better defense on that. All right, what about the traps, Megan?
Starting with Baker Mayfield. I so want to like this kid, but I'm just over it. I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's his team. I don't know if it's his coaches, but definitely a trap player for me. Not going to try with him anymore this week.
I can completely understand that. Travion Henderson, I feel the same way. It's you don't know if he's getting the ball this week or if it's from Andre Stevenson. So with New England, no matter what, you just have to figure out where the consistency is. And unfortunately, New England has zero consistency, especially in their running game. So yeah, he might touch it, but he might receive it, but I don't think this is his week.
Xavier Worthy, we're still waiting for him to come back from remembering his name from the Travis Kelsey hit week 1. Um, Even if he does come back this week, then he hasn't played at all and will be rusty. So we don't really want to see him play this week.
uh, Tyler Warren. Now, this might be a surprise because you guys know how high I am on Tyler Warren. I have been a avid say, hey, he's a starter no matter what. But the Colts are probably going to rely on that running game this week. Jonathan Taylor is going to do what Jonathan Taylor does, and with Tyler Warren getting all of the majority of the targets in there, they're going to end up locking down on him eventually. And I think this week they'll do.
Next, we have Harrison Butker. He has been such a godsend in Kansas City in previous years. This year, you hold your breath every time he kicks that ball. He's about 75% consistent still, but for as good as he was, I think he's a trap player because he's just going to keep getting worse. Um, and I don't feel like he's doing the distance that the other kickers in the league are doing and not being, um, not making those field goals. So Harrison Butker is a trap for me.
And back over to the San Francisco issues. They just lost Nick Bosa, like we talked about before. I don't think their defense is really going to bounce back from such another strong injury like that. So that's kind of where I'm feeling on San Francisco. I would not play them like even against Jacksonville and that shoddy offense, but it's still something where I don't think San Francisco is going to put much up of. All right, now let's get to those locks. Josh freaking Allen, man, playing New
I'm going to go
Orleans.
take a break while you talk about him.
I'll be quick. Josh Allen, MVP, absolutely should have a monster game. Now, granted, and he will probably not play in the fourth quarter, but still should have a monster game. Absolute lock in that position.
Jordan Mason, I'm kind of on the Jordan Mason train like Chris is on. No, that was completely different. He's seen more targets this year with Aaron Jones's injury, but has done well, you know, as a whole, right? So 214 yards and 9 touchdowns so far this year. Definitely a lock for me with Minnesota this week.
Egbuka. You don't have a Mike Evans. You have maybe a hurt Chris Godwin. There's nobody else to throw to. And Baker Mayfield loves Egbuka. So even though Baker might not be someone you want to play this week, Egbuka's going to get all of those targets.
Cole Kmet, like Jordan Mason, also getting a lot more touches because of Loveland's injury in Tampa Bay. But even before Loveland got injured, we were seeing him being consistently having the ball and just doing well with it. So I definitely would take Cole Kmet this week.
And that leaves us with our kicker and our defense for our locks. Schrader, if you haven't picked up this guy, he is absolutely hitting every single kick that he needs to hit. He's only missed one on the year, and he can hit from distance. Look to see if he's in free agency because he probably is. Go grab him, start him over any other kicker that you have because he's a lock and should be a lock for that powerful Colts offense. And for the Houston defense, that matchup is something that you just can't beat. It's a divisional matchup. It's against the worst team in the league in Tennessee, and Cam Ward throws at least 2 picks a game.
Tennessee
Just
is the worst team in the league.
yeah, at this point, Tennessee they're going to have the number one pick if they don't turn things around. They have no offense. They have no defense. Houston should come across this thing with a near shutout, if not a shutout. So
I don't know. I don't know that Tennessee is the worst team in the league. They might look like it, like on paper, but if you watch them play, the Saints are much worse, in my opinion.
I think the Saints have more weapons. I think the Saints are going to like. I don't believe Buffalo is going to pitch a shutout against the Saints, but I can definitely see Houston pitching a shutout against Tennessee. So
I guess we'll see.
that's one way we're gonna find out. So, all right, guys. Well, that looks to be the end of the show. Within 30 minutes, as promised, as always, we finally did it.
As always.
Come back next week. Be sure to follow us. Be sure to comment. Let us know how you guys are doing. Let us know if you have any questions. We would love to interact with you and talk with you.
Subscribe and like.
Of course. And remember, nobody circles the wagons like CTW. We'll see you next week.
Have a good one.